Cyclones, floods, drought, wildfires. These disasters are taking place all around the world, at this very moment, in fact. There's a cyclone battering the US territory of Guam in the Pacific Ocean, floods in Spain and Afghanistan, drought in the Horn of Africa, wildfires in Canada. All of this is happening as we speak. These extreme weather events are leaving behind a trail of destruction, and the results are catastrophic, both on people and the economy. The World Meteorological Organization has come out with a report. It details the impact of extreme weather over a 50-year period. The death toll is over 2 million. More than 2 million people were killed due to extreme weather events in the last 50 years. Over 90% of these deaths took place in developing countries. The economic losses are worth over $4 trillion. Our next report brings you the details.
It should be common knowledge that people should revere Mother Nature or be prepared to face the consequences. Humans seem to have forgotten this bit of wisdom, and we've been paying the price. Extreme weather has taken 2 million lives over the past 50 years. This is according to a report from the World Meteorological Organization, or WMO. 2 million people have been killed due to extreme weather between 1970 and 2021. And remember, this is just extreme weather, like cyclones, floods, and droughts. We aren't talking about things like earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Those are considered natural disasters. Extreme weather is different. It's something that human activity can aggravate, which we have done. Since we keep burning fossil fuels and releasing greenhouse gases, this makes extreme weather events more frequent and more calamitous. Let's take a look at what's going on in just the last few days. We first turn to the Pacific island of Guam. It's a US territory in the Pacific. The people there just faced Super Typhoon Mawar. The tropical cyclone battered the island with wind speeds of over 240 kilometers per hour. It has left now, but the island still faces strong winds.
Half a day and good morning. I am so glad we are safe. We have weathered this storm. The worst has gone by, but we are going to continue experiencing tropical storm winds up to about 40-50 miles per hour. So I ask you again to please stay home for your protection and your safety.
Meanwhile, America's northern neighbor is facing dozens of wildfires. Canada's Alberta province is ablaze. Thousands of firefighters from Canada and the US are trying to get the fires under control.
There are 71 wildfires in the forest protection area of Alberta. 20 of those are out of control. So far this year, we've responded to 520 wildfires, burning more than 1,017,000 hectares.
It's so bad, Australia and New Zealand have pledged to send their firefighters to help out. Then there's Spain. It's facing the full bouquet of disasters: hailstorms in the north, wildfires and drought in the center, and floods in the east and south.
There is no water and the reservoir has dried up. We don't know what happened, but they tried to fix it and now we can't drink the water. They're offering us water in trucks.
I've lived here since January, and the shame of being from Murcia is that every time it rains, it pours, and everything gets flooded. Because really no effective solutions are put in place to avoid this from happening. So now it's time to check whether insurance will cover all of that.
Afghanistan has to deal with extreme weather along with everything else it's going through.
At 12:30 during the day, there were a lot of floods. All the villages were flooded, and 12 villages are completely destroyed. We have 4 deaths, we have 1 wounded, and we have faced a lot of damages. And we expect our government to reach out to us to support us.
You'll notice how the developed nations were talking about economic damages. The Afghan person spoke of deaths. That contrast is highlighted in the WMO report. Over 90% of the deaths from extreme weather events impact developing countries. Asia and Africa are particularly vulnerable. Extreme weather has killed over 500,000 people in Bangladesh alone. The country regularly faces cyclones and floods. Then there's the Horn of Africa region. Droughts killed over 500,000 people in just Ethiopia, Sudan, and Somalia between 1970 and 2021. And another drought is currently underway. The world knows this, but it isn't doing enough.
Crisis atop of crisis is threatening the lives and livelihoods of millions across the Horn of Africa. The longest drought on record. Mass displacement after years of conflict and insecurity. Skyrocketing food prices. And now chaos and fighting have engulfed Sudan, radiating instability across the entire region. I call on donors and the international community to urgently fund the 2023 humanitarian response plan for the region. Today, they are just close to 20% funded, and this is unacceptable.
Developed countries pledged about $2.4 billion yesterday. They were quite happy about it, even though the UN says it needs $7 billion. Over the years, rich nations have paid the lion's share for humanitarian assistance and the rebuilding of infrastructure after extreme climate events. The US alone suffered economic losses worth $1.7 trillion since 1970. That's about 40% of the global losses due to extreme weather. Yet, despite the cost, the developed world is still slow to fight climate change. Maybe because they have the money to burn on recovery. The developing world, however, does not have that money, and it pays for the insults to Mother Nature with innocent lives.
They say storms always pass. That may be true, but only as long as you're not living on Jupiter. This planet is known for its constant storms and sheer size. It is our solar system's largest planet. Jupiter is so huge, it can fit over 1,300 Earths inside it. It is the fifth planet from the Sun and one of the brightest objects in the sky. But with that, it also makes science seem a bit dull sometimes, because so far, no one has been able to fully understand this planet. It's a big cosmic conundrum and a colorful one. Why do we say so? Because Jupiter keeps changing its colors and no one could understand why. Well, until now. Scientists have finally discovered why Jupiter's colors keep changing. Our next report tells you all about it.
This is Jupiter, the biggest planet in our solar system, just doing its own thing in space. But as relaxed as it seems, it can be quite temperamental. Mostly because it's so gassy all the time. This doesn't have much to do with what Jupiter had for dinner. Its moods are ever-changing. But one thing is constant. Jupiter is always stormy. It has a very thick atmosphere and really strong winds which create complex weather patterns. And Jupiter's clouds are constantly pushed around because of this ever-present storm. But these clouds don't work like they do on Earth. They form bands which swirl around. And from where we see Jupiter, these bands look like stripes. Like in these visuals you see, it almost seems like this planet has stripes, which is made of different colors. But here's the catch, and this is where Jupiter's temperamental behavior comes in. This planet's stripes aren't constant. They not only move around a lot, along with the moving clouds, but they also change color. Now, that's where the real trust issues begin. Why, you ask? Because you never know which color Jupiter decides to wear on a given day. Sometimes it seems to be donned in pastels. Other times, the color palette looks dark and almost angry. And these colors change every 4 to 5 years. But as interesting as this so-called outfit change is, it is also one of science's greatest mysteries. For the longest time, scientists didn't know what made Jupiter change its colors, but now we have an answer. Thanks to the astronauts from the University of Leeds, they have published new research. It is based on information from NASA, whose spacecraft has been orbiting Jupiter for about 7 years now. So why does Jupiter change its colors? It has a lot to do with the planet's magnetic field, which is extremely intense, about 20,000 times stronger than Earth's. Every few years, there are changes in Jupiter's field, and these changes happen deep inside the planet. about 50 kilometers below the gas giant's surface, the result of which is seen on the planet's surface. Think of it as a churning on the planet. This affects Jupiter's weather. Sometimes it takes quite personally considering its constant storms. So, as this weather goes a little crazy, causing the color of stripes to change, there are still many unanswered questions. But this advance is surely a leap forward. Hopefully, research will better our understanding about Jupiter and its ever-fluctuating moods.
Our next story is about Imran Khan. He's moving from one crisis to another and is facing challenges at every turn. Captain Khan simply cannot catch a break. Reports say he was added to Pakistan's no-fly list today. There's another problem. His party, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf or PTI, is imploding. There has been a series of resignations. More than a dozen leaders have parted ways. The list of prominent departures is getting longer. It now includes Shireen Mazari, the former Human Rights Minister, Fawad Chaudhry, the former Information and Broadcasting Minister, and Asad Omar, the former Finance Minister. He remains a member of Imran Khan's party, but he has stepped down from his leadership positions.
Under the current situation, it is not possible for me to personally play the role of leading the party, particularly after the 9th of May incidents. It is not possible for me, therefore I resign from the role of Tehreek-e-Insaf's Secretary General and from the members of its core committee.
Why are so many politicians leaving? Well, as far as these leading names are concerned, they all have suffered a crackdown. When Imran Khan was arrested, these leaders were picked up too. But they were released later. It seems they are now quitting politics just to avoid going to jail again. Did the country's army get to them? The leaders say they are not under any pressure to quit. But Imran Khan believes they are. Consider what he said yesterday, and I quote, "This is a crackdown that I have never seen in the history of Pakistan before. If you say that you are part of PTI, then you will face oppression and violence. You will be locked up. If you say the magic words, 'we are no longer in PTI,' then you will be released." So according to Imran Khan, this indeed is a crackdown, and it might get worse. There's talking of banning Imran Khan's party. Pakistan's Defence Minister Khwaja Asif has spoken out. He says a ban is indeed being considered. On what grounds? Asif says Imran Khan's party has attacked the state. The Defence Minister was speaking to journalists last night. He said the PTI, that is Imran Khan's party, attacked the very basis of state, and this cannot be tolerated. Asif is referring to the unrest that happened after Imran Khan's arrest. There was a massive uprising. Khan's supporters had taken to the streets, and they spared no one, including the military establishment. Military installations were attacked. The unrest simmered after Khan's release, but the government vowed to punish his supporters. That's when the idea of banning PTI was mooted.
Apart from banning this group, there is no solution. And you said that Bilawal is not in favor of banning PTI. He is not. Bilawal said that they don't like to ban a political party. If their attitude and methods continue, I regret to say, then we shall have to do it.
So has the government made up their mind? A decision is yet to be taken. But if Islamabad does go ahead with this, how would it pan out? Well, the government cannot do it unilaterally. They will have to take this to the parliament. And even if the proposal is passed, the ban will be challenged in the courts. Already, the PTI has declared that they are ready for a legal fight if they are banned. What's their counter-argument? The PTI says the party cannot be blamed for the acts of few individuals. So the stage is being set for a bigger showdown. But it appears Imran Khan doesn't want to fight. Yesterday, he suggested a compromise.
मैं ये कमेटी बनाता हूं, मैं दो चीजें कहता हूं, दो चीजें करते हैं। अगर इस कमेटी को ये बैठ के कह दें कि जी इमरान खान के बगैर पाकिस्तान बेहतर हो जाएगा और आपके पास कोई सलूशन है, मैं फिर से कहता हूं कि इस मुल्क की खातिर मैं छोड़ देता हूं, मैं पीछे हट जाता हूं। अगर आप ये कमेटी को समझा दें कि मेरे बगैर मुल्क बेहतर चलेगा, चले मैं मुल्क की खातिर ये भी छोड़ने के लिए तैयार हूं.
A negotiating committee. That is the latest proposal of Imran Khan. What will it do? Its purpose will be to negotiate a way out of this impasse. Imran Khan says he is willing to step aside, but is he really serious about this? That's unlikely. Polls say he is the most popular leader right now, but his problems are compounding. There are nearly 150 cases against him. So the fear remains that he could still be arrested. The army has declared an open war against him, and now his party has been fractured. How will the impasse end? Honestly, we do not know for sure, but we can say one thing. The climax of the story will be written in Rawalpindi and not Islamabad. Over to some US politics now. Donald Trump has a new challenger in the Republican Party. This man, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. He's been hinting at running recently, but on Wednesday, he made it official. Just one problem though. The announcement went horribly wrong. DeSantis chose to do it on Twitter Spaces with Elon Musk. Both men were online and ready to go. But Twitter had a meltdown. Take a look.
Tonight, I'm pleased to introduce two individuals. He kept Florida schools open and its economy thriving, while my state of California chose 2 years of learning loss and lockdowns that we have yet to fully.
So, I'm obviously very excited to have Governor DeSantis make this.
The feed kept getting cut out. The voices were muffled and the connection horrible. We still don't know what happened to Twitter, but Elon Musk is blaming the traffic. Around 250,000 people had joined the stream. Maybe the servers just couldn't take it. Either way, social media had a field day with it. Even DeSantis' rivals took jibes at him. Look at what President Joe Biden tweeted. This link works. It was a link to donate to the Biden-Harris campaign. Donald Trump wasn't far behind. He posted this meme video on Instagram. Have a look.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Ron DeSantis Twitter space.
Hello? Is my microphone working correctly?
George, can you just wait while we...
Hello? Can you hear me?
We can all hear you, George. Can you just hold on for a second?
Hilfa, I don't think they can hear me.
Hear you fine, George. Just speak to the
I don't think George knows how to use Twitter.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Can I please make my big announcement now? Everyone just...
Hello?
Just shut up, George. Can somebody just mute George?
Memes aside, what does this announcement mean? Ron DeSantis is relatively new in politics. His career began in 2012. He was elected to the US House of Representatives. After that, he launched a Senate campaign. When that didn't work out, DeSantis ran for Florida governor. He won in 2018. A big reason for that was Donald Trump. Trump endorsed DeSantis. He also praised his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. It was a mentor-protege relationship. But once Trump left office, that changed. DeSantis had big ambitions. He had a national appeal and wanted to be president. So now both men are bitter rivals, but their politics is mostly similar. Hardcore conservatives, anti-LGBTQ, anti-abortion, and highly combative. But who holds the edge? Trump is still the favorite. A recent poll found that 53% Republican voters want Trump. Only 26% want DeSantis. So what's the strategy to turn it around? DeSantis has billed himself as Trump light. He realizes that attacking Trump is dangerous. He would lose support across the board. So his strategy is to present himself as a toned-down version of Donald Trump, not ideologically, but otherwise. For example, Trump has legal cases against him. DeSantis doesn't. Trump says the 2020 election was rigged. DeSantis doesn't. So the strategy is to get the best of both worlds, the hardcore Republicans and the moderates. DeSantis says his party must end the culture of losing. Listen in.
There is no substitute for victory. We must end the culture of losing that has infected the Republican Party in recent years. The tired dogmas of the past are inadequate for a vibrant future. Biden's allowed woke ideology to drive his agenda. We will never surrender to the woke mob.
That's his favorite attack. He keeps talking about the quote-unquote woke ideology. It makes him a very divisive figure. As governor, Ron DeSantis has pushed a hardcore conservative line. He has cracked down on the LGBTQ community, on abortions, on gender equality. Have I missed out on anything? Okay, wait, even climate action. His adverse views on these issues make him highly controversial, but they also make him very popular. Will it be enough to challenge Trump? Not yet. Some say DeSantis lacks charisma. Now, Biden and Trump aren't exactly charismatic charmers, but both of them score elsewhere. Biden is a Washington veteran. Trump is a celebrity and former president. DeSantis is neither. Plus, his foreign policy chops are untested.
I think we're going to see some changes from him in the next few weeks. I think he realizes that he's going to have to become more of a showman, while at the same time tacking in somewhat moderate directions. To try to do both of those is a challenge. If he's able to do it, he might be able to get more support and be a more viable challenger for Trump.
So the verdict is clear. DeSantis is popular, but not popular enough to challenge Donald Trump. And now it's time for Vantage shots, images that tell the story starting with Iran. The country has test-launched a ballistic missile. Iran says its missiles are an important retaliatory force against the US and Israel. In Guam, Typhoon Mawar has made landfall. The Category 4 storm has caused some major damage. We'll show you satellite images as well. In Australia, a massive fire broke out at a multi-story building in central Sydney. Eyewitnesses felt the ground shake before walls of the building collapsed. And finally, what makes May 25th significant? Taking you back in history, on this day in 1969, a military coup led by Commander Jafar Nimairi overthrew the government in Sudan. Nimairi ruled Sudan for more than 15 years. He was ousted in 1985 in another military coup led by his own defense minister. We leave you with that. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Email exchanges from inside the BBC, they talk about the risk of violating Indian laws. It's easier to rake up the freedom of speech debate, but does it give anyone a free pass to knowingly violate the law? America supports India because it needs India's support in return. And India is working with the US because it suits India's interests. This is how geopolitics works. Last night, he diffused a crisis with his defense minister. But today, Netanyahu was confronted with a new problem. His cabinet seems to have rebelled against him. UK is looking at the Indian subcontinent to fill its coffers. That India seems to be negotiating from a position of power, like a partner and not a former colony.